What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy, and I just want you guys to always remember game journals are disgusting individuals. This is a post that I've been trying to keep online from Alyssa Mercante, where she blatantly says to all game journalists, all individuals with massive followings, if you're not speaking out against Sweet Baby Inc. Detected and coming to the defense of Sweet Baby Inc., no matter how the actual incident began, no matter what actually happened, that you will be canceled. This is what this post was referring to, where she blatantly posts, your silence will not protect you. They will come for you. They will attack you and they will dox you and do everything like that to you because you aren't with them right now. Well, we ended up getting this article just the other day from The Verge, in which you had the return of Gamergate is smaller and sadder. A group of gamers has mobilized a harassment campaign against a story consult company, marginalized developers, and journalists in protest of what they see as forced diversity in gaming. This particular article was nothing more than a hit piece against Cabrutus and everybody who is against Sweet Baby Inc. and pro Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, getting tired of the identity politics being shoved within video games and just want good video games again. This entire hit piece existed solely to call them all racist, sexist, homophobic bigots that hate everything right now and should not be pleased and should honestly be taken down, going so far as to not actually say anything about how this all began with Cabrutus, but just slandering Cabrutus and attacking him. Well, now we have an interesting story because, let me scroll up here, turns out we got some leaked DMs from the author of said article. The Verge reporter Ash Parrish admits to excluding Sweet Baby Inc. cancellation campaign in order to push woke narrative. But it gets a little bit deeper and darker than that. Because when you come over here to some of these, it is next level insane. A lot of this comes from your Read This Wrong, in which they say they interviewed her. Her editors told her that giving an accurate timeline may make it seem as if their outlet is implying the backlash was to some extent deserved, a stance they want to avoid. They blatantly admit to removing the fact that Chris Kindred and Sweet Baby Inc. started this because they wanted to push a different narrative. This is all from mainstream journalists, a very woke outlet, by the way, in the form of The Verge, but coming out here and admitting they removed this to change the narrative because if we added it, it would look bad for Sweet Baby Inc. and us defending Sweet Baby Inc. But you read some of these. I hear you and I understand, and this is where we part, ideologically at least. I'll share the conversation I had with my editors about this because I'm preparing for my piece. I struggled with this particular bit, and the conversation I had really helped me understand Cabrutus and his ilk have a grievance against Sweet Baby Inc. that is rooted in racism and misogyny and has no basis in the reality of how video game development works. That is period. And when you get into the nitty-gritty of who did what when, not obviously the who's and the what's that are necessary to explaining the story, the central premise gets lost. No, it is important to the whole story because what it is individuals that are tired of ideology being shoved within their video games, being shoved within every aspect of gaming and culture as a whole, to the point that they are tired of it and they are simply saying, hey, I suggest against buying said game. That's all it is. So the who's and the what's do kind of matter because on one hand, you have a small gamer who's just suggesting, hey, I suggest against playing this game. On the other hand, you have Sweet Baby Inc., an employee of said company, went after the gamer for just saying, I suggest you don't buy this game. That's all it was. So the who's and the what's do matter, Ash, but you continue on. And me personally, I have to remember what my piece is ultimately about. And it's not about providing a timeline of events. It's bigger than that. It's about explaining that the reason you're hearing about this company called Sweet Baby and Gamergate 2.0 getting thrown around is because there's a group of people who decided they hate woke video games and found a convenient scapegoat to target and a large conspiracy to underpin it. All they did was say, we suggest to not buy this game. That's all that group existed for. That's all that existed. But you're defending them because you don't like the fact that they don't want to play these games. You don't like the fact that they want to avoid these games, but it keeps getting better. Now, these particular posts right here are a little wishy-washy. It's very hard to get, all the way around throughout all these. But I'm going to do my best right here. I believe it starts right here. Does what Kindred did with his tweets warrant this response? He, his boss, his company, and journalists and sympathetic developers received? No, not even close. Kindred said, hey, this sucks. Let's take this shitty thing down. And the guy who did it, and the response was death threats. There has yet to be any proof of death threats. There has yet to be any receipts about death threats. But you wanted to take away his entire games, every aspect of what Cabrutus did, because he just didn't want to play your games and was advising people not to buy those games. That's that reality. And so you run into this thing where including this detail makes it seem like the inciting incident is on equal footing with what happened next. And it's so not. It's so not. Honestly, there has not been any proof of death threats. There has only been the gaming industry coming out against this. Journalists coming out against gamers, everybody coming out against gamers solely because a man said, I suggest not playing these games. But you guys keep wanting to spin around and say, well, I mean, if we show this, it's going to look like they're on equal footing. One of them is honestly kind of worse because one of them is the company he's advising against playing any of their video games or buying any of these video games, outright coming out against him and attacking him and trying to remove his games, trying to make him lose his Steam account, which has access to all his video games that he's ever purchased through Steam there. If he loses that, he probably loses thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars of games gone just because he suggested people don't play this game. Oh, great. Best analogy I can think of is like woman is walking on the street, minding her business. She says a guy looking at her with a nasty expression. She tells the guy to F off. The guy who was totally within his right to look, and the girl was totally in her right to tell him to F off. No. Oh my Lord. No, actually, this is night and frickin' day. One of them is a company using the power of game journalists, the mainstream media, and every aspect of activists within the gaming industry to come after gamers. The other one was gamers saying, basically, F off. That's what it is. Your whole analogy needs to be flipped around. Every aspect of this is what's honestly pissing gamers off and pissing people off, because people just want good games, and what they're being shoved in their face isn't good games, it's ideology. And when they reject it, they're treated like garbage. But the guy's response to being told to F off was too far beyond the pale of reasonable response that the event makes the national news. So who's the guy that got told to who's the guy that got told to F off? Was that Sweet Baby Inc? Because that's how it kind of looks right here. As far as the omission of this inciting incident from reporting, okay, let's look at this event honestly, taking everything into account. Chris Kindred finds a list, asks the folks to report the list and its maker. Reports are filed, and Steam acts only as far as delete/lock the form. The list still exists. Cabrutus accounts still exist. This is where the story should end. And all in all, that's not really report worthy, because interpersonal conflict that ends in a stalemate happens all the time. But as we both know, the story doesn't end there. It continues, and what resulted of this interpersonal conflict was this outsized outpouring of the grossest kinds of bigotry that blew up so big. Well, you see, this is the story. I get that in respect of thoroughness and completeness, not sharing the kindred start of this is upsetting and feels like a lie of omission. But what does including it do? How does including that detail materially change the circumstance of this story? Let's be honest and real here. Not much. Actually, it changes every aspect of it, because what it shows you is a company that is angry that people don't want to buy its games try to cancel a man simply saying, I suggest you don't play these games. That's what it shows. It shows a complete change in power dynamics that show a small guy getting slammed by a company, getting attacked by a company. That's what it shows. And then the reason it keeps going on and further is because we started digging deeper and deeper into Sweet Baby Inc. We started seeing every aspect of what they have done, every game they've ever worked on. We started finding more companies like Sweet Baby Inc. We've been finding more and more stuff. That's why the story keeps growing, blowing up. The sole cause of this was Sweet Baby Inc. But you don't want to admit that because it changes your attack vector, and it changes your entire article from being a hit piece to actually showing the truth. That's the reality here. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out, friends. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.